Well, we're back to another day of cutting beans. We moved up to the 80 yesterday afternoon. Both combines are up there, and Grandpa got everything he needed to get his monitor and 2388 working. It's a Pro 600, and it needed to be calibrated to read what the yield is while he's harvesting. So he was going to work on that this morning while I finished up my schoolwork. He went and got a weigh wagon from Co-op in Ewing. They bought one a while back, and he went and got it so he could get the weight. Then he can put that in his monitor and everything, get everything calibrated the way it needs to be. Chuck, he was hauling off the beans that were cut down in LaGrange at the Brosey farm. He's taking off the Freightliner right now, and he's going to bring it back. Old Smokey, there's a truck that's on the trailer right now. Bring it back, and we're going to put the Super 10 on it because the tires on Old Smokey are starting to get wore. We just did get new tires put on this one. We had these two put on early summer when we were using this on the water trailer. The rest of them needed to be replaced, so had that done. Did that at Lewistown Tire. So this truck's good to go. Old Smokey's getting to the point it's got an air leak somewhere. I'm thinking it's a internal leak in the compressor on that truck, but after you park it and fill it, by the time it's full and you come back with the other truck and go to take it off, it's leaked all the air out of it, so you got to wait for it to air back up, and that's just taking too long because that's time you're killing waiting for air to pump up on the truck. That's fuel you're burning, so it's more feasible to run this one because it don't leak air like that one does. So this truck's getting put back into action, so that's the plan. Chuck's going to come back here, and I'm going to get them switched out real quick and be good to roll. I need to get some grease and grease the fifth wheel. That way won't have any problem there. Go ahead and do that after I get this thing fueled up. Had fuel delivered the other day. Got clear in this one, red in this one. We got some gasoline in that one for the service truck and the Ranger. Plus, I've used it a couple times to put a little gas in pickups when needed. Because my Chevrolet, it's a typical Chevrolet problem. A lot of them did it. Even the Duramax has that issue. You burn half a tank of gas, it'll read half a tank. Next time you get in, it may read 3/4, may read 1/4. After you burn half a tank, it's just all over the place. So you got to keep track how many miles you drive. About every 450 miles, you better fill up. You can go 500, but if you just do 450 miles, you feel a lot better about it. So I did have it run out of gas on me one day. It was a bad deal. Luckily, we weren't very far from home, but we were still far enough. It was a little bit of waiting. So that's another problem I'm going to have to address on that. Probably take it up to Steve Omeyer, have him fix it. But probably won't get a lot of beans cut today. Get my finger out of the way there. But we'll at least get the 80 opened up and started. Tomorrow we'll hammer down, get the 80 done, and move on up to Benjamin. At least our plan. So we're going to hammer down, get all these beans cut. Then once we get done cutting beans, we'll start shelling corn and work our way back home with the 2388. We'll end up having to bring the 21 home too, because we got to do Rick's corn yet. And it's 6 rows. And we can only run the 6 row on the 2188 because the 2388 has duals, and that's too wide for the 6 row head. So, well, we've been cutting, and these are some dry old beans, and they're tall beans and viney beans, as you can tell, because the vines are stretched out between the rows and stuck to the other rows. So we've been kind of trying to figure out how we need to set our reels, and finally got them figured out. Had to pull the reel dang near all the way back to where it's almost touching the auger in the head. Then lift it up about as high as it'll go to keep them feeding because they're so tall. We're having to do that so we can avoid popping a lot of beans, because if they get to doing that, you lose a lot of them. And we're cutting at an angle to help get them to feed better, but they're just tall beans and they're starting to fall over. kind of wishing they would have fell over a little more because they would feed a heck of a lot easier. But now I know I'm never getting this number of beans because they get too viney. It could have just been this year, but yeah, these beans just had a lot of vines on them and got tangled with the other rows, and it's kind of a pain to cut. This side I'm not having much problem with. It's this side over here that keeps wanting to bunch up. I don't know what it is, but I keep having problems with this side this year. But I do have a full hopper, just about. Be my second hopper I've cut today. But started filling the Freightliner. Looks like the front's about full, so I'll finish filling the front, and then I'll start filling the back. And I may just go ahead and haul off myself. That way we ain't got to worry about calling Chuck, because we're still kind of trying to get things lined out. I think as far as my combine goes, it's pretty well lined out. It's his that he was having issues with the monitor and all that. Yeah, this was kind of hard to do one-handed. There we are. Just a little dusty. Still trucking right along. About to the road over there, so the front piece will be pretty well whooped. Over the ridge right there, there's still some more. Grandpa's been working on that. Then we got to go across the ditch up back there and get those two patches. I got some Pioneer back there because I had Becks left in the planter when I left home and went to the McNay farm, so I just planted those out. We come here after we got done McNay's, so I just took some of the Pioneers that I had left in that planter and planted this. Kept me from having to clean the planter out. It worked out about even. I had about the same amount of seed leaving there as I did going there, so it worked out. Plus we can see how the Pioneers do next to the not the Becks, but the Ag Venture. I'm liking the Ag Venture beans because they're having a pretty good yield to them, but they just got too dang viney. And I think that's just from too much moisture this year. Because it rained and rained and rained this summer. Then it turned off hot. But would have kept going and got a few more rains instead of getting hot on us, these would be way better beans. There's a lot of them that are 3 bean pods. 2 beans did real good and that third one petered out. That's part of it. I'm satisfied so far. We're getting a good amount of beans off this place. About got a second trailer full, so not too bad. Cutting on some pretty good beans back here. They're right next to this water here. The creek, I guess, is what it runs off of. But these are good beans back here. We're figuring high 50s, low 60s. Well, my crop is officially out. This will be just about 5 complete trailer loads. This one will be a little light, but if I had a full hopper, we'd have a full truck, but I only got about half a hopper, so. Oh well, I'll take them. These beans did real good here, considering the fact that a lot of them were falling over. I was picking some beans that were flat on the ground, and I was just able to go right under them and get them picked up. And I looked at my yield monitor and it said they were still making 60 bushels, so I ain't gonna complain about that one bit. I had me a pretty good bean crop this year. I'm just glad the weather cooperated the way it did. It wasn't exactly perfect, but it never is. I don't remember having a normal year in the past probably 10 years. It's either been real wet or real dry, real hot or real cold. This year's about the closest thing to normal years we got. Of course, we got those 3 weeks of hot weather, but heck, it was getting towards the end of August into September, and it's always hot in August. So I ain't gonna complain one bit, other than the prices, but ain't nothing we can do about that. So it is what it is, but I'm satisfied, I'd say. On the move. We decided to move both heads. Grandpa's behind me in the Dodge with his head, and I'm pulling mine Duramax. Taking him up the farm at Benjamin. Called Chuck, and he was getting ready to pull off the outbound scale at Ursa, so we're figuring we'll get there about the same time, and my grandpa Randy's gonna run up and pick us all up because he's right down the road from the 80, so he can shoot right up, come and get us and run us back to the 80. And me and Grandpa's gonna bring the combines over, and Chuck's gonna take that last load of beans off. We're gonna get our combines hooked up and start cutting, kind of open things up to where we can pull the semis out in the field, and then we can start cutting down the bottoms. So move the cart up this morning, we'll take the cart down there. Well, these beans are doing better than we figured. We've already got dang near 2 hoppers. We're gonna have a lot of beans to haul out of here. Well, we're walking right across this. We're planning on getting this bottom completely cut this evening, if we can hold it. We should be able to. 2 semis and a grain cart. We should be able to hold all of it. this will be my last pass for the night. I'm going to go ahead and dump, and we're going to call her a night. It's supposed to get down to 30 degrees, so we're probably going to have a frost in the morning. So it'll be a little later going tomorrow, but that'll give me time to haul both semis off, and we can get combines ready, because we won't have Chuck tomorrow. He's got stuff he's got to do, so we're just going to be a two-man team tomorrow, but that'll be fine. We can get this place done and get moved. Grandma, she doesn't have to work tomorrow, so she'll be around to help. My grandpa Randy, I'm sure he'll be around. So I think we'll just call this video good, and we'll see y'all in the next one.